Happy New Year and welcome to the January DC Bloggers Meetup and our first event of the year. We're excited to have you all here today and to learn about creating the best media kits from our fabulous guest speaker, Veronica, Droulia. We will be learning what to include and not include in a media kit and also touch on pricing, so be sure to have your questions ready at the end of your presentation. My name is Parisia Bruce, also known as Opals and Obsessions, and I'm a volunteer with the DC chapter of the Blogger Union. I'll be providing the introductions for today's event. Do we have any new faces here? Yes, good, welcome, we're so excited to have you all. And also welcome back to all of our returning members. I see a lot of familiar faces as well. For anyone new, I'll share a bit more about this DC chapter of the Blogger Union. So the Blogger Union is a community of bloggers and creators dedicated to supporting, growing, and collaborating with one another. We have monthly meetups to learn more about the blogging industry, connect with fellow content creators, and network with brands. The Blogger Union has over 10 chapters across the country, and you can become a member for free on thebloggerunion.com. We also recently opened a DC Mom Blogger chapter too, so check them out if you're interested. We want to thank the fabulous vendors who helped make today's event possible. So please use the following handles and hashtags when posting on social media for a chance to be featured. At the DC Bloggers, at Veronica Droulia, at Rosa Mexicano, who's hosting us today. Also, we are lucky to have videographer Ernie from Out of Time Productions. So let's give him a round of applause. Be sure to say hi, thank you, and get in the video recap, which will be posted on our page afterwards. If you haven't already today, be sure to check out IOB Photo Booth, which you can see set up in these beautiful different flower walls, which offers these beautiful flower walls for events, weddings, and parties. You can find them on at IOB Photo Booth and at IOB Flower Walls. And now Ibrahim will come up and say a few words about IOB Photo Booth. Ibrahim.
Hello everyone, how are you doing today?
Good.
Alright, introduce myself. My name is Ibrahim Badru. I am the owner of IOB Photo Booth and Flower Walls. And we're always really excited to be working with DC Bloggers. It's always a great combination when the two of us get together and actually do something amazing. So I'm very excited to be here. We have two things we want to introduce to you. We have our new flower wall, which is a starting garden here, and we have the Ultra Luxe Red flower wall. And we have our newest boot, the Social Boot Plus. So if you've used our Social Boot before, you know it looks a little bit different. So you still have that green lighting that's there before, but now we also have studio lighting as well too. So you have that fill light, but you also have that studio lighting too. So if you use our boot before, you'll see the difference in the image quality. So always excited to work with DC Bloggers here at Rosa Mexicano. And look forward to seeing everyone at the booth at some point. All right?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ibrahim. And Nicole, Christian, I can attest, we did try out that lighting, and it is fabulous. Just, your skin looks great. So definitely check it out at some point after the presentation. And another special thanks to Rosa Mexicano for having us at their brand new location here in Arlington. John, thank you. John, the general manager here at Rosa Mexicano, would like to say a few words and welcome you all. John, take it away.
Sure. Hello, welcome everyone. So glad to have you in. Welcome to the newest, most beautiful Rosa, I believe it is. They've given us a fabulous looking restaurant here. We're very excited to be here in Pentagon City. If you're familiar with the brand, it's quite an awesome brand established by Chef Josephina Howard in 1984 in New York City. And for a female chef at that time, you know, in New York, she was pretty phenomenal and pretty groundbreaking with a lot of things she came up with. One is which the tableside guacamole, which do try. It's the best guacamole you will ever eat. And also our pomegranate margarita. Those are two of our house specialties. We're very proud of those. We're very proud of the restaurant. I did want to touch on, we also have some daily specials on the board there. I wanted to point those out to you all. We have some great specials. On Mondays, we do $5 margaritas. Tuesdays, Everybody? Taco Tuesday. Half price tacos all day long. Just you can't beat that deal. For our tacos, that's a phenomenal deal. Wednesdays we do sangria special, $5 sangrias. Thursday, flights of tequila. We also run a happy hour. We have a nice happy hour with margaritas, beer, and sangrias at a discounted price. All day, every day, all day long. And then we also have some bar snacks and food that we offer as part of the happy hour offering. There again, all day long from open to close. And you can get anything from happy hour out at sitting in the dining room. You don't just have to be at the bar in the bar area to get those deals. So as you see, we are available for private dining events and functions. And so honored and pleased to have you all in and welcome you all. And I'm relatively new to the DMV, but at least I've learned the term. So, but I'm enjoying it more and more the more that I'm here and meeting some great people. And it's great to meet you all. Hope you all enjoy yourselves thoroughly. And we'll look forward to seeing you back in. Y'all have a great day and a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you, Rosa Mexicano, for having us in your beautiful new location. It's stunning, and I can't wait to try out all the food here. Those pomegranate margaritas have my name on them. Lastly, could everyone please put your phones on mute during the presentation, but definitely keep them out to take notes. I know there'll be a lot of really useful information that Veronica will be sharing. And at the end of today's session, if everyone would gather around, we'll do a group photo to kind of end the event. So, without further ado, I'm excited to introduce today's speaker, Veronica, who is a DC-based lifestyle social media content creator turned entrepreneur and designer. Her mission is to provide value to her community, which ranges from making TikTok reviews of things to do in DC, to starting a sustainable swim line, to coaching women on entrepreneurship. She's a woman of many talents, and today she'll be sharing her tips on how to create an award-winning media kit to attract brands. Please give a warm welcome to Veronica.
Hey guys. Okay, I have like a little bit of a muffled voice, so if I need to speak up at any time, like someone in the back, just do this. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming out here on your Saturday. Like, that is amazing, and I am just so flattered that you want to come hear me talk, because Lord knows I love to talk. So we're going to talk about media kits today. So, if you can flip on your phone, Carly actually sent the presentation prior, so you can actually follow along, and I'm going to be following along as well. So, hi, I'm Veronica. I'm originally from New Orleans, just met another New Orleans connection here, so love that. I moved to DC 4 years ago. I went to GW to get my master's in marketing and brand management, and then I ended up staying in the DMV post-grad, and I'm obsessed with it, so it's hard for me to leave. I've tried, and I just cannot. It is such an amazing city. And I started doing TikTok reviews in 2021, yeah. But I was always sending videos to like my family and friends back home in Louisiana. We're all such foodies. And I figured, let me just post one to TikTok, see how it does. And been doing it ever since. So I kind of fell into this, but I've been working for Like to Know It in college. I never really took social media seriously. I kind of was always scared of that fear of judgment, and I was really afraid to put myself out there. But whenever I moved to DC, I figured, why the hell not? And yeah, I think it's been a really, really transformative couple of years, and it's such a powerhouse. Like, you can really empower yourself and others through social media, which is why I'm so passionate about it. So, I'm a social media coach and founder at my business Content Confidant. I started it during the pandemic as a way to help women create that freedom lifestyle. So, whether that's landing more paid brand deals, or sharpening your media kit, or just having an accountability buddy, that is like my piece of cake. I love it, and I have so much fun working with other female entrepreneurs and content creators. So, even if you're from the ground up, I love working with people from literally ground zero. But I also love working with people that, you know, have been around for a while and just want some accountability, or maybe want to sharpen their skills. So I also started a sustainable swimwear line in 2021 in November, and I started it with 2 childhood friends. Thank you. It was a dream of mine, literally since I was a little girl. I would make like little tinfoil purses like for my family for Christmas. So I've always wanted to be a designer, and it's been a dream come true. But started it with two of my childhood friends, Hurricane Katrina evacuees. And we all relocated, we lost touch, and reconnected in the fashion industry 15 years later. So we actually give proceeds back to nature organizations, specifically natural disaster relief, and it's called NOAA the Collective, which stands for Nature's Own Art, and we do only animal-inspired pieces, which I've been having so much fun doing. I actually met Ibrahim at DC So Week, so I'm also a podcast host as of recently. I just started a DC-based podcast called Martinis and Bikinis. And I actually interview a lot of DC content creators, and I do solo episodes talking about things to do in the area, just people that are really inspiring to me. But I'd love to have some chats with you guys. Maybe you can come on, we'll see. But I would love to just like chit chat about it because I'm still learning and I literally have no idea what I'm doing still. So it's still a learning process, but I'm having so much fun with it. But anyway, let's get to it. So, what is a media kit? I feel like that's the question of the hour. But a media kit is basically like a content creator resume, but less serious. So, you always add a little bit of flair to a media kit. So, it's an opportunity for you to really just show who you are and who your audience is, your work, and if you're the good fit for a brand, and if they're a good fit for you. So don't think of this as like an ultra serious thing. Like it's meant to be like a tool for you, but in a creative manner. So think of it as a way to tell a brand what you're all about and have fun with it. So trial and error is so real, and just don't fret if it's like not what you want it to be from the get-go. Trial and error is so important in this process, and I was actually trying to find like my original media kit, and it is I couldn't find it, but like it was just so oh gosh, I wish I could have found it because it's really just improvised and changed since then. So don't get discouraged. So why do you need one? So it makes you look legit. We're talking business, and it's good for you to stand out. You know, if you are sending a pitch to a brand and you don't have a media kit and their inbox is getting flooded with other content creators reaching out and sending their media kits, you know, you're not going to be at the upper hand there. So you want to make sure that you are including these professional, like semi-professional, fun tools that will make you show off and have those bragging rights. So when you pitch to a brand, this is absolutely necessary in your formal email pitch, which we will talk about a little bit later. I'll touch on pitching because without a really good pitch, there's no reason to even have a media kit. It's an exact detailed description of what you have to offer, and it demonstrates your creativity and your value. So, the media kit framework. So we're going to start with a bio, which I honestly think is the hardest thing to do. Like, I don't know why it's so hard to like explain who you are. It's like, who am I? I don't know. Like whenever you're going to fill it out, it's like, why did I just forget everything? But it's 4 to 5 sentences stating what type of creator you are. So what makes you special, what makes you stand out from the crowd, what you can bring to the table. And I always like to add a little flair and personality into this so that, you know, a brand knows exactly who you are from just a one-pager. So I always love to add like little one-line crazy things because I'm a little loopy, so I had to incorporate that somehow. And then past work. So include any past work where you have bragging rights. I like to include recent collaborations that are similar in field to that brand. So, for example, if I'm pitching to a hotel brand, I should include all the hotels that I've worked with in the past. And that's because they want to see that you're able to make that organic content for similar brands. Demographics and insights. So, due to the saturation of content creators, brands care so much about insights. Brands have this whole process where they do like research and development and market research, and they know exactly who their dream client is. So if you're able to even give them little bits of who their dream client is in your media kit, you are just going to blow them off the chart. So make sure to apply demographics that are like relevant to that brand. So let's say you have like a majority like women audience, and it's kind of like a women-owned brand, or you know, catered towards females. Like that's something you would want to incorporate. Or if it's a local brand, you know, you want to make sure that you're showing off that you have like a high DMV audience. contact info. So I remember like my first meeting and I had like my address and like my phone number and like all this like random contact information about myself that nobody needs to be like sending out to like random people on the internet. So I definitely recommend to just keep it simple, like have your social handles and your email. And then when it comes to like sending things, like brands sending you things, you can always send your address as time goes on. You just definitely don't want to send that like to a bunch of random emails. So here's my example. I have my media kit right here. I actually went through a branding agency to come up with different fonts and just different like colors, things like that. I have like a more minimal brand, so I tried to keep my media kit like super minimalistic, but you can really get creative with it. Like let it be a part of your personality, like I said, and let that design just kind of like fuel you. So I'm just gonna like walk you through like each individual part and then I'll give a little bit of note. So I have my name like really big, it's like the center focus, and then I tell them exactly what type of content creator I am. So I do lifestyle and food, a little bit of dating, but I have that like right on the episode. Then I actually have my Instagram and my TikTok profile photo. So I think it's super important for brand awareness to have these same photos circulating on every platform. Because not only do you want brands to recognize you whenever they go through your content, but you also want your audience to be familiar with who they are or who you are whenever they're seeing your content. So have your avatar in your media kit, and then also have a little bit about you. So I have a small town Louisianian turned big city DC food and lifestyle blogger and entrepreneur. Who would have thought? Veronica is a 26 now. is a 26-year-old expert social media manager, creator, and business owner. She is the life of the party, but is also the kind of girl you'd find doing a power yoga the next morning, followed by an elaborate skincare routine. She loves to create, and with her expertise, she can create amazing content for your brand that's on point and on brand. So just adding little bits and pieces about yourself, and not just about what you can bring to the table, but just who you are in general. Like I think it's really helpful for brands to really get a good look at that. I have my recent collaborations here. So for example, with this media kit, I was pitching to American Express. So I wanted to have some bigger brand names on there. So I listed some collaborations like SoulCycle or Berries or Ride Alto, Zappos, like brands that they could like look back and see the content that I created and see if it's up to par. So then key audience demographics. I have 98% of the following, 98% of following in the DMV, 53% ages 25 through 34, 85% female followers, and then I have my contact info with my following numbers. I also have some past work on here, so I have different ideas of content that I could create for this brand, or showing like the high resolution photos that I could also reciprocate for them. So I think having like an idea of like what you can really bring to the table is important, and showing that and reflecting that in your media kit. So I think this is really important. I think you should have multiple media kits. So if you're pitching to a specific brand, I think I said American Express for this one, but this was not for American Express, but they were a part of this in my past collaborations. But pitching to like big brands or even like hotel brands, for example. Let's say that you really want to get into some more hotel collaborations. A really good idea is to put like different hotels that you've partnered with. And if you don't have any past work, I think this is the number one question I get asked, is if you don't have any past work at all and you've never done like maybe like a real collaboration with the brand, what you can do, I actually got this advice from the first DC Bloggers event I went to. The Emily Edition and her sister were giving this amazing presentation, and they do a lot of hotel lifestyle content. So they gave me the idea to go to a hotel in DC, partner up with some girls, pitch in, and have a one-night staycation. So we actually stayed at the hotel, like created a bunch of content, and then the brand actually asked to repost to their page. So you could just immediately say, like, oh, that's a collaboration, or now you can actually charge them for user-generated content, UGC. So if they want to repost it to their platform, you should definitely be charging, because that is for your time and energy, and you're doing the same thing that like these people with millions of followers are doing. Like you're just creating content and they're using it for their own purposes. So brands are always looking for creators to create content for them. So that way they can just completely avoid having to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for photo shoots, video shoots, whatever. Short bio introducing yourself, photos of your work and inspiration of what you can create. recent collaborations that are similar / in the same wheelhouse as the brand you are pitching to, audience demographics that would be relevant to the brand, contact info, and that is just your email and your social handles, and include your following there. So rate sheets. So having a separate rate sheet is great when a brand reaches out to you for a collaboration. So I always recommend that if they aren't like willing to offer you a paid collaboration from the get-go in their initial pitch, I always recommend responding with, hey, like this sounds great, like we can obviously add a little bit more there, but always follow up with, do you have a budget that you're currently working with? And that kind of opens that conversation. So you can actually attach your rate sheet to that email and say, these are my usual rates, let me know if you have any questions, like up for negotiations, or whatever you feel comfortable with. But this is a really, really good way for them to evaluate all of your different services and really dial down what they're looking for from you. So here I have like social media story posts, and I have in-feed posts, carousel posts, and then reels and TikToks. So obviously everybody can price themselves differently, and you can have a bunch of different services that you can provide. I know some of you like to do blog posts, you can incorporate that into your services, or maybe you want to incorporate like some, maybe just UGC generated pricing, that's totally fine too. But you can describe exactly what you're willing to offer amongst those services. So for example, here I have my story post. So for me, that's a 3-frame story post. So 15 seconds each or something along the lines of that. And I always recommend pricing with ending in 5 and 9. It's like a psychology hack that I learned. I went to like a pricing seminar, and he actually recommended that you price everything with a 5 or 9, and it's like this weird trick, and I swear it works. Like, I don't know what it is, but hopefully that's a really good tip that you can all incorporate into your pricing. I also wanted to share my pricing formula with you guys. So everybody prices differently, and people will always tell you, oh, you can price up, or you can maybe lower your rates or whatever. Like, don't listen to that, because I think it's all so personal. So my pricing strategy is create an hourly rate for yourself. So basically, like, however much you think that your time and energy is worth, which I know is hard, but really sit down and be like, what is my hourly rate? What am I willing to sell myself? And then multiply that by how long each service is actually going to take you. So let's say, like a TikTok, you have to like go somewhere and then create the content, like mentally prepare for it, create the content, edit it. You want to like really incorporate like negotiations, things like that, every single minute that you are going to be spending towards this service. So once you come up with how many hours it's going to take you, all you have to do is multiply that by your hourly rate. And then you should come up with the pricing that's good for you. So on to pitching, which is the most important part in my opinion. So I like to do something a little different. I know some people know about this, but in the past, I've had a lot of girls that I've worked with that will like cold email brands, which I think is like, it's not like my favorite thing to do, because you want to have those bragging rights. You want to be like, hey, I was forwarded this email from X, Y, and Z account, because it shows that you had a prior conversation, you're developing a relationship with that brand. So I always recommend doing that, sending a little short Instagram pitch. And typically a brand will follow up and send the appropriate email. So whenever you email them, again, like I said, you want to say, hey, like my name is blah, blah. I was actually forwarded this email from the X, Y, and Z Instagram account. And that way you kind of have that like entry, like the door is already open. So to start, you want to introduce yourself and what you do. Speak briefly on your interest of the brand and what you are capable of doing for them. And finally, if there is an email you should reach out to regarding this idea / proposal. Okay, so I actually have a real life example of a brand that I reached out to, and I landed a 6-month contract with them, and they furnished my entire apartment. So I wanted to share this with you guys so that you can, thank you. So I wanted to share this with you guys because it works, and I don't want to like gatekeep anything. I want you guys to be completely aware of what you're capable of if you just say the right things. So I always say, don't say what you think you want to say what you think they want to hear. And I think it's like its own language, like learning how to pitch is like its own language. So I said, hi there, I'm a DC-based food, travel, and lifestyle creator. I absolutely love at X, Y, and Z and wanted to reach out for a possible collaboration. I'm actually gearing up for a move on July 1st, and in addition to being a content creator, I'm also a serial entrepreneur with mission-driven brands, including a sustainable and quality swimwear line. I absolutely love supporting other mission-driven and quality companies like X, Y, and Z, which is why I wanted to reach out. I would love to partner with you in exchange for some pieces where I can create tons of high-res content, including a room tour on YouTube, 1 Instagram reel, 2 TikToks, 2 Instagram and feed posts, and IG stories, as well as future content that will be produced in my home. I would make sure to tag appropriately. Is there an email for your influencer marketing department that I can reach out to, providing more info on myself, my audience, and this potential collaboration? Thanks. So, I don't know if you noticed, but in that, I said exactly what I was going to do for them. I said I was going to provide a YouTube video, Instagram reels, TikToks, and you don't have to offer all of those things, but just be really clear about what you're willing to create. So, this is your game plan. Send an Instagram pitch and collect emails. And I think it's really important to be really personable with your Instagram pitches. You don't want to just copy and paste and send it to every single brand. You want to actually connect with them somehow. So do your research. This brand, it's like a circular economy furniture rental. So obviously sustainability is super huge stuff. It's really big for me too. I'm a small business owner and I really, really feel like those values really align with me. So I was like, I want to mention that, and maybe that'll pull on their heartstrings too. So make sure that you're being really, really unique and personable with the brands that you're reaching out to. Just don't copy and paste. My roommate, she actually did this yesterday. She wants to have a hot sauce soiree on Sunday. She's a big hot sauce fiend. But she reached out to Yellowbird and Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York. She accidentally put she just copied and pasted it, and the brand called her out on it. So yeah, so be aware of incorporating other brands and then copying and pasting it, because it's just not going to work. So the next step is to compose a formal email pitch. So more in depth, this is where you'll attach your media kit and your rate sheet, and then you play the waiting game. So it's possible you may not get a response or ever, and trust me, that's probably happened to me. I've probably gotten more no's than yeses, and I don't think it's any way to discourage you. I think it's just a way for you to really fuel that fire and keep doing it. It's practice makes perfect. And again, for every no, there's a yes. I think that's a super important tip that I was told from the beginning of my journey. So brands get flooded with pitches every day, and it's important to keep practicing and having that trial and error experience and really just testing that muscle. So if they respond with a promising reply, it's time to head into negotiations. So remember to remember your worth as a creator during this period and seal the deal. So the perfect email pitch. So this pitch is going to be a little different from your Instagram message. So in this pitch, these are some things you want to include. You want to link your socials. You want to introduce yourself and then link your socials. So I like to do hyperlinks. I think it just makes it really convenient. Describe in detail what content you can make for them. So like I said in the Instagram pitch, you want to include those things as well, because you're probably talking to a completely different person. Include a story or details as to why you feel a connection with the brand, or a time you use the product, a service, maybe a memory you had with them. And then include necessary resources like your media kit and your rate sheet. I actually don't recommend sending your rate sheet in that original email. I would wait until they respond, because you don't want to overwhelm them with all these numbers and be wait, you don't want to work with her, that she's pricey, so wait until after you show them your worth, and then they'll be willing to pay. So how you can help them, like I said, you really want to act like you are this person on the other side of the computer. You're receiving this email and you are in PR. What would you want to hear? Maybe some flattery. If you're wanting to work with this brand, I'm assuming it's a brand that you already like, you love, and you use. So make sure that you are telling stories or being really just intentional about what you're saying. So your game plan. Oh, that was the last one. So let's see. Okay, the final lowdown. So don't take things personally. If you never ask, the answer is always no. But if you do get a no, don't let that discourage you. Take your time. If you take your time creating your pitch and your media kit, it will only help you in the long run. Make special adjustments for brands, if possible, that will only make you stand out more. So This is my one-on-one program. I actually have 6 weeks of one-on-one coaching, which everybody gets a 15% off discount to today for joining. But I include 6 60-minute strategy sessions. So we will meet once a week for 6 weeks, and it is all about you. I'm like your business bestie, and I want you to feel as if there's someone holding your hand through this process, because I created this business knowing whenever I first started, I wish that there was someone there to hold my hand and literally tell me what to do. So that's exactly what I do, and I'm really just here to learn more about you, your brand, and see how I can help. So you will get a 24/7 accountability partner who you will have access to via Slack every single day for any questions, advice, anything that you need. I always send like photos to my friends in group text, like, which Instagram should I send, or which Instagram should I like put out there? And you know, I think it's really important to have those accountability partners, or like those people that you seek advice from. So basically, you have access to me 24/7 for those things. So if you need help deciding an Instagram pic, I got you. And as a thank you, again, I will be giving you 15% off, and you can actually go to www.contentconfidant.com to schedule your free discovery call. So I offer 20-minute free discovery calls where it's literally just about you. I want to learn about your business, see if we're the right fit, if I'm even the right fit for you. So this is an opportunity for you to really shine and see what your goals are, and you know what you need improvement on, and how I can help. And thank you. So please connect with me. I would love to hear from you. So all my social handles are at Veronica Droulia. That's VeronicADroulia. And my business Instagram is Content Confidant, CONTENTCONFIDANTE. So thank you so much for being here on your Saturday, and I hope you guys are enjoying the margaritas. I'm totally gonna do one. But I really, really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions for me, please, like, even if it's just like really hyper, like, individual things, like, I would love to answer that for you. And this week, I literally brought a laminated media kit, like, so cool, and so professional. So if you guys have any questions relating to media kits or anything, just please come up to me after this. I would love to have a chat. Or even if it's just about, like, you know, dirty martinis or whatever, I would love to just tell them. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Veronica. Grab some water, girl. I know you've been talking really well, so grab some water. When you're back at home and that first brand is reaching out to you, you really don't know what to do, you don't know how much to charge for a staycation or a reel, now's your time to ask questions. So we've got about 10 minutes to ask questions, and then I'll kind of do some closing remarks. We'll take a group photo, and we'll be able to use the photo booth and get some more food. But raise your hand if you guys have any questions. I do see one over here if you'd like to start.
So I think that's like that's like a really common question. I think that's another number one question that I get asked. I don't think you should put yourself in a box. I actually hate the word niche. I think it really scares people away. And now social media is really turning into like a storytelling perspective. So it's really just about learning about you and like what your passions are and things like that. But one tip I can give for that is write down 3 areas of focus that like are really, really like genuine to you. So like, let's say, for example, you like really love food, but you love to travel, but like maybe you also love fashion. Like, write down all the things that you like to do, and then narrow it down to 3 and make content around those 3 things, and just see what clicks. I think looking back on past content, seeing what worked, like what got the most engagement, what people were excited about, is really important too. So, a friend, Lily, actually in the back there, she sent me an article this week that apparently Instagram is going back to its original state. So they're moving the Reels tab, and they're listening to the audience about, I feel like everybody was really, really mad about them prioritizing video content, because we have TikTok and, you know, Instagram was mostly just like a photo sharing platform. So they're like trying to transition apparently this weekend into like posting more photo content. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But from my perspective, I think that TikTok is a really, really great way to get more engagement. I first started out on there, and like my first video got like 150,000 views. So like, a lot of it is luck, I will be honest, but it's really creating like quality content and valuable content. So anything that's like educational, entertaining, inspiring, or motivating, I think is really, really important. Yeah. Yeah, so I actually
question this week on here.
Okay. Oh, yes. Sorry. So she asked me what type of like camera or equipment that I have. So I actually have my camera right here. So if anybody wants to take a look at it afterwards, I actually asked my friend, she's actually a client of mine in LA, she's a lifestyle photographer, what I should get, and she sent me the links for everything, and it's like super professional. It's definitely an investment. But if you're like paying for like photo shoots or anything like that, and it like really taxed up, I definitely recommend like investing in your own piece, because like having a good camera really makes a big difference. But I use my iPhone for like all my videos. Like you can really do so much with an iPhone. Good lighting is really important. So now they have these things on Amazon. It's like those little like clip-on things that you can put on your phone. They have like these really heavy duty ones now. My friend brought one to like my party last night, and it was just incredible. So yes, of course, yeah. Yeah, if you remember, just let me know. But so I'm going to share a little tip for my like business owners, content creators. Like I know it's hard to like balance like a schedule if you have like a full-time job too. So I actually have my days or my weeks mapped out in themed days. So Mondays is my is my CEO day, so admin and content creation, like I usually do on that day. But that's like responding to emails over the weekend, that's doing like bookkeeping, talking to legal, or if I'm like starting a new business, like trademarking, things like that. But then I also will pitch to brands on Monday. So I like set out a time on my calendar for like an hour to literally just pitch to brands, because I know it's something that's hard to motivate yourself to do. But if you set out time and like literally put it on your calendar, like I have to do this, it'll make all the difference. But I do it once a week, and I try and send about 10 every week. So obviously it's going to be a different number for everybody, but you know, that's like a good rule of thumb for me. Yeah, so honestly, I think that they're going to see it, like regardless, like, or if they don't, then that's just because their email inbox is just super saturated. But I haven't like really like found a difference if I'm sending it on like a Wednesday as opposed to like a Monday. Like I think everybody's like productivity times are different, so people that are sending pitches out, like I think it's going to be sporadic. But I know a lot of people don't say like, you know, Fridays and Mondays are not the best days, but I think whatever works for you, and if you're getting that content out there, that's all that matters. So just putting yourself out there is the most important part. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. No, I think that's like a really good question. So I do follow up, and what I'll say is like, hi, like just checking back in, wanted to bump this up to your inbox. Like let me know if you have any questions about my pitch, or like, you know, what I have to offer. So I think bumping that up and like just reminding them, like making sure that you're like attaching that like set email is important too, because they're not going to like remember who you were. So like you might as well just like attach like your response to your original email and just like update them like, hey, just wanted to remind you I'm here, like remember me. So yeah, I think that's really important. Okay. What? Oh my gosh, I'm like knocking everything out.
Okay. So I just became eligible for the branded content on IG. What are your thoughts about that?
About the what?
Branded content, where you're eligible for projects and all that good stuff. Are you familiar with that? And what are your thoughts about, you know, they tell you what brands may be interested in you?
Oh, no, what? This is so interesting to me.
Yeah, so I just wondered your thoughts about that.
Oh my gosh. No, I like really did not even. I feel like there's so many new features to Instagram, so I'm like always learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we had a question about branded content. So we just got someone approved for branded content on Instagram. Has anybody heard of that? Anybody?
I know what that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, it's interesting because have you guys noticed that Instagram only like allows certain features to like certain creators? So I remember whenever this first came out, I like kept seeing it everywhere, and I was like, what is this? Like I don't even know what this is. But I keep seeing like obviously like branded content, but then like you have like paid partnership with who. So that I actually don't like have access to like that. So it's interesting how like some people don't have it and some people do. But I have it on TikTok, so I don't know. It's really interesting how like they've given it to certain creators and not others. But
does a box. I'm interested in some of them, but never got any feedback. So just curious, is there like something I can do in there?
I've seen a lot of people doing it, but I think it's something to experiment with, you know, for sure. Sure.
You can actually get collaborations with
So like,
So like when you go in and there's options. I haven't used it, but Twitter does.
okay.
And when you go in and they have opportunities and you can get paid just like this.
Yeah.
Take it to it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really great question. So she asked more of like an organization question. I know I was talking about my themed days. So she wants to know like how I like schedule my workflow and things like that. So I use Trello. Who's heard of Trello? Okay, so I am so visual. So you can actually create Trello boards and make it like super artsy and cute. So I actually have like, I made a graphic on Canva for like every day of the week, and I have that listed in like a to-do list. So like I have Monday with like a cute little Monday graphic, and then Tuesday with a cute Tuesday graphic, and then at the end of the week I have like a little champagne glass. So like all the tasks that I completed that like, you know, I was like rewarded, and then I have like my weekend tasks. So like I have like everything like in like a little to-do list. But I also use like a straight up like physical planner for like meetings, coffees, like things like that. Because I need to write things down. That's just how I am. But I've used Google Calendar before and stuff, and obviously that's great for like Zooms and things like that. But as opposed to like writing things down is like the number one thing that works for me. But again, the theme days has been like so crucial to me, and I can like explain what day is for me. So Monday is my admin day, content creation day. So that's usually like pitching. Maybe I have like a photo shoot there that day. Tuesday is my content like coaching days. So I have like my meetings on those days. And the number one thing about being your own boss is that you get to like make your own schedule. I am not like physically able to like have a conversation with somebody until like 1 p.m. So like I have my meetings from like 1 to 6 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. So those are my coaching calls days. And then Thursday at the end of that day, I usually work really late so that I can like have a half day on Friday, but I work on my swimwear line and like our manufacturing and just like kind of planning our like next collections and things like that, designing. Wednesdays I have like kind of just like an everything day, like just like miscellaneous things that like I just want to get over with like before like the end of the week. So Fridays is my catch-up day. Everything that I wasn't able to do for that week, I slide over to Friday, and then I like give myself a half day because, you know, we all deserve a little time off. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. Yeah. So pricing is like such like a variable thing, right? And I honestly like following is like important to brands, but I think it's really important to really dissect like how you want to price yourself. So like let's say you have like 2,000 followers, like yeah, you probably shouldn't be charging like $5,000 like for like one Instagram post, but like if you feel like your like time and energy is worth that and you're able to like deliver really quality content, like so be it, you know, and then you can negotiate. But like if it's bigger brands, I always recommend pricing higher. So like for instance, like let's say like Google reaches out to you to like work on something, or like you pitch to Google and somehow y'all land like this really, really cool like collaboration. You can definitely price higher with bigger brands like that. And then maybe more like small businesses, like I would try to keep at a lower rate. So I actually have my real prices on that sheet. So if you want to like look at that and see like what I charge, like I'd be more than happy to like have a discussion with you about that. And that's also something that I like talk about in my 6-week program. I actually help you dial down a pricing that like works like specifically for you and what you feel comfortable with. So. Yeah, so okay, she asked if it's like okay to reach out to a brand and ask for their influencer marketing department. So usually brands that are more higher scale will have a social media manager and then have somebody that's like primarily sticking with like all their influencer negotiations, pitching, things like that. So you want to make sure that you're getting the correct email, right? You want to make sure that they're not just sending you to their like general email. You want to know exactly who you're talking to. So I think asking for an influencer marketing department is really, really like ideal because that way you can like really formulate what you're saying because you know exactly who you're talking to. But I think it's kind of like complimentary too. Like if you're reaching out to a smaller brand, like I have a really small brand, but I would really love if like I got a pitch and somebody was like, "Oh, can I have your influencer marketing department?" I'll be like, "Hell yeah!" Like, yeah, sure, here it is. So I think it's definitely a good thing to say. Or if you want to say like, you know, somebody that handles your influencer collaboration, something like that. Just making sure that you're getting the right person in touch. So yeah.
I just wanted to add, like, one thing that I like to do is, like, when sometimes a conversation starts on Instagram over a direct message, that's when you really want to say, oh, yes, thanks, can I get someone who's in your, marketing department? And then I say, do you mind if I ask who I'm speaking to? And then sometimes they'll say, oh, yeah, John, or hey, Carly, yeah, this is John. And I'll be like, hey, so-and-so, John referred me to you. Or I'll be like, hey, John, it was nice talking to you. And then that's also kind of a grab. So I would recommend just being transparent and saying, do you mind if I ask who I'm talking to? And then sometimes that helps you.
Yeah, that actually added a really good point. If you don't have any like past collaborations, another great way is to create a portfolio within those DMs with a brand that you like. So, for instance, I actually have a partnership with this hair company called Wellbell. Has anybody heard of it? It's like, cool, yeah. So it's basically like a hair growth company, and for years, like I like bleached the shit out of my hair, and like it was just like not growing. I was like really like having a lot of insecurities with it. So I started using this brand like just because I'd been researching and like wanted to try something new. So I used it for about 6 months, and I started posting my results. I was like, this is super cool. Like, this is crazy. Like, I've had such a complete transformation. And I shared photos and tagged them on Instagram. And they asked, like, I kept tagging them and tagging them and tagging them, and we kind of built up this repertoire, like, on DMs. So it got to the point where they were like, hey, Veronica, like, can we actually share your before and afters, like, on our website? And I was like, oh, like, of course, but, like, I would actually really love to work with you guys. Like, I don't know if you're doing influencer like partnerships right now, but I like absolutely loved the product and like kind of just like went into like, you know, my genuine like love and respect for their brand. And I was actually one of like their first influencers that they worked with, and I actually helped them develop their influencer marketing program. So I think like having that relationship like prior to even reaching out is really cool too if it's something that you like, and just tagging them and like having no strings attached. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You've been raising your hand for a while. Yeah. Okay. So she asked, like, if it's a bigger brand, like maybe they have millions of followers, how I would go about messaging them if it's even worth it, type of thing. So here's an example: Rare Beauty, right? Selena Gomez, love her. I actually reached out to them like a few months ago for a partnership or a collaboration, and they responded within like 4 hours. So I think bigger brands like that actually have like a slew of people that like are responding to messages because it also like helps build that brand loyalty. So I don't know if you've ever had an experience where you've like posted a bigger brand like to your story and then they've like immediately reposted it. So like they're looking at that stuff, and actually whenever you tag them and they look at it, you're immediately like out of their request folder and you're in like their normal folder. So I think like making sure that you don't let that scare you away and you just like put yourself out there is really important. But I mean, there's going to be times where you won't get like responses or maybe responses that you don't like, and I think it's just important to stay consistent in practice. So yeah, great question.
So how do you keep up with all your paid collaborations? Like for the end of the year, do you have yearly taxes there, or do you do an Excel sheet just to figure it out?
Yeah, so I use QuickBooks, and I'm like pretty consistent about updating it. So every Monday I update it and I make sure that I'm like ready to go. But I actually have a brand collaboration Google sheet where I'll put in like the brand I'm working with. I'll put in like any like unique links that I may need. I'll put in like special things that they ask for, discount codes, things like that. And then I'll put like when I was paid by them, if there was like a payment or if it's like gifted or whatever, like I'll make sure to like put that and like negotiate the dates and everything. So just like making that organized and like keeping consistent with it to make sure I don't forget anything. So yeah. Perfect. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a really great question. So she asked me more of like a business-oriented, like admin question. So it's about whether I have like an LLC and how I position myself as a business owner and like the officialness of it. So I actually established an LLC before I really started doing services with my digital like consulting business. So I had that LLC ready to go. I actually trademarked it too, which is like very important too. So it takes about a year to go through the trademarking process. So be aware it's not going to be something that's like quick and easy. I hired a trademark consultant, but you can actually do it on your own. It's just you really have to read into it and do research. But I also have an LLC for my personal brand and for my podcast now, and for my swimwear line. So I have like a lot of LLCs. But for personal stuff. So I think it's like really important because you can actually get like tax write-offs for certain things that you're doing. So let's say like you have like a photo shoot like and it's for a brand collaboration. You can actually put that into your bookkeeping and then get a tax write-off at the end of the year. So I would make sure to like really take into account everything that you're doing and definitely ask your accountant like, is this like a tax write-off? Like, am I able to do this? Because I know girls that have like gotten their nails done and they're like, oh, all right, like I'm good. And like, I don't think that's how it goes, but I definitely think you should talk to your accountant, see what charges, could be applied to that. And yeah, I think I think the crossover between like content creator and business owner is so like slim. So I think really registering yourself like as like a female entrepreneur is like the first kick that's like, okay, I'm taking this seriously. Like this is the real deal. So because it is like a real job, it's a real career. And I think now over the past few years, like it's definitely become more at the forefront. Like, oh, like content creators like are making more money than people like with like 9-to-5 jobs, which is like insane. So I definitely think like prioritizing like your like professionalism with this is really cool too, and like really like giving yourself that validation. So great question. Yeah. That's a really good question. So she asked if like from the beginning, like how it worked. Like was I getting reached out to, or was I reaching out to people, and like when did that like kind of transition? So I've been doing this for like a few years now, and I started out like not having anybody like email me or like message me or anything. Like I was literally like clawing away at brands, like please, 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 please work with me. Like literally on my knees begging. So after I like kind of created like more of like, I guess like a portfolio within myself, like brands that I worked with, I was able to use the content that I made for them to really establish myself. So they had either seen like content that I posted for another brand and they reached out to me from that. I do work with mostly like DC restaurants. So usually like other restaurants will see my content from like another brand and be like, okay, like we would like to work with her too. So I think just like making sure that you are like putting yourself out there and you are like pitching and doing those things, because it's not just gonna like come to you, you like really have to put yourself out there. And it takes time, like it really, really does. Like it wasn't like just an overnight thing for me. Like I started in college, like I wasn't super serious about it then, never got a pitch from a brand or anything. And then whenever I moved here, I got more serious about it. It probably took me about like a year and a half to really start landing paid brand deals. So I think it's important now more than ever to like just put yourself on the forefront and establish that brand recognition for yourself and that brand awareness. So yeah. Yeah.
How does it work with collaborations with you guys integrate videos?
I'm sorry.
With collaborations with other creators?
Oh.
just like a swap for a video on each other's channel?
Yeah, no. Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to, so she's asking about like collaborating with other like creators. So like what that looks like. So I'm like a big believer in collaboration over competition. I don't think I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for collaboration. Like just even some of the girls out there, like I've collaborated with them. Like it just really, you can really make good connections in this area. And I think like the blogger, influencer, content creator scene is so big. And I think like really reaching out to people and asking like, hey, like you look really fun. Like let's get coffee or like let's go shoot content or like something like that is so like flattering and like so nice. And like I've met a lot of my best friends that way. So we just help each other out. Like me and Barnett have shot together. We like go on photo shoots. So like I think like making sure that you're like establishing those organic connections is so big. So yeah, definitely reach out, see people that like you would vibe with like on social media and just like, you know, just be really genuine and it's really going to like make such a difference.
Can I add something to that? One of the things that I would say, because I do it every once in a while, is don't just go like, hey, shoot with somebody and then put up content. You kind of have to work on what you're going to say together. Don't just, especially with brands, a lot of brands, if you know how you can collaborate with, don't just put up your content. Let them know what you're going to say first. Because if you do, some of them will say, we don't, our practice is we don't do that. So you know that up front. Others will say, oh, we like what you say, but can you tweak it? And they're more like, and same with your friends, you know, you can say like, oh, I'm here, I'm doing this, but you didn't really think about what the other person might have to say. So if you want to collaborate with something, kind of work on that content together.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. And also, like, I've been, like, invited to, like, different events from different friends, and, like, I'll go with them as their +1, but then, like, whenever, like, an event happens that I'm invited to, like, I make sure to remember, like, oh, like, I was just her +1, like, I should bring her to this event. So, like, just making sure that you have that synchronicity and, like, making sure that you are being, like, super aware that they, like, have kind of, like, helped you out, so now you can, like, help them. Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. I definitely think that's a really great question. So she asked, yeah. So she asked, like, whenever you're pitching to brands, I mentioned that it's super saturated in their inbox with different pitches and how you can stand out. She was asking me how I feel like I stand out. So I think it's really, really cool, again, to mention different, like, memories or things that, like, you really resonate with the brand. So in my example with the furniture company, I made sure to, like, look up, like, I did, like, serious research. I was like, what are their values? Like, I really like their, like, whole mission. How can I apply this to myself and make it look like I would be the ideal person to work with? So obviously, like, I had seen the brand and I was already in love with it, but how could I really tell them, like, you have to work with me? So owning a sustainable swimwear line, like, that was my #1 thing that I said was like, look, we both have the same values, clearly. Like, I've been working on this for, like, so long, and, like, I'm a small business owner too. Like, let's see how, like, we can help each other. And I think making sure that you're willing to help them, not like me. Being like, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and in return, I would like this. And I think that's whenever, like, negotiations happen and things like that, but really making sure that you're telling them exactly who you are, saying how you can help them, and then how you relate to them and why you are not, like, just this, like, general person reaching out. Like, you are this, like, completely unique, like, spread of light that, like, they have never seen before. So I think just being super intentional about your research of the brand and making sure you're spending time with it, not just being like, okay, I like this brand, I'm gonna, like, send them a message and then, like, you know, just whatever. Like, you need to make sure that you are being super clear and super, like, cognizant of what you're saying to them. What I like to do is I like to jot down, like, I probably do this, like, maybe once a season. I will do, like, this whole goal setting, and I will actually jot down, like, my dream brands. So I'll jot down a list of, like, my dream brands for that season, and it's really crazy what manifestation can do for you. Like, I'm super woo-woo, But I truly believe like half of the things that I've accomplished is because like I've either said it out loud, I've written it down, I've told somebody. Like I think it's really important to like set that tone for yourself and be like, I can do this. Like this is gonna happen. So I always look back on like that goal setting, and I'm like, it's crazy to see like how I've like actually like partnered with those brands or like goals I've accomplished. And that's actually what I do in like my first week. With my one-on-one clients as we go through an entire goal setting process. I like to call them like brain dumps too. So like figuring out like what you're doing and like how you can really like create value for your audience, like who your audience is. I actually have like my dream follower persona. She has a name. So I like will figure out like what type of music she likes to listen to, where she's hanging out online, like how old is she? Is she in a relationship? Is she married? Is she single? Like like what's her favorite color? Like I'll literally like figure out like there's like 50 questions I have that I will fill out about like my dream follower, and every single time I go to post something, I make sure I like every time I like go to post something, I like keep her in mind. I'm like, would she like this? Like, is this something that she would vibe with? Is this something she'd share with her friends? So I think it's kind of like the same thing with a brand almost. Like you have to like really like, again, how I said in the presentation, like think about who's on the other side of the screen. And like, yeah, you don't know who they are, what they look like, anything. If you were like a PR person, if you are an influencer marketing person, this is what you would want to hear. And I think it's just about like really nailing that down, practicing, and like figuring out like the whole language when it comes to it. But great question. Sorry I got off track.
I think we have time for one more.
Yeah.
I know you said that following inspiration for brand, right? Is there a certain engagement
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think following is like, okay, so she asked like, besides following, like what's important, like is engagement important? Like what do brands look at? Or like what can you propose to a brand that like is important to them and you know, you can show off. So I actually don't think following is like as important as we make it to be. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and there's a lot of comparison. So I always say like don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 100. And I also got my start in small businesses and helping them like really like just succeed and creating that like collaboration over competition thing. So I think when it comes to like local brands here in the DC area, it's a really, really great way to get started. So I remember like I pitched like my first DC brand, and like this was like kind of before like TikTok and Instagram and all that, and well, not Instagram, but TikTok like creating as big of a hype as it did. And I think like just reaching out, putting yourself out there to like maybe smaller scale businesses is really cool. And I think like they really, really appreciate it more than you know. Like the people that we partnered with for my swimwear line, like I partner with people that have like 200 followers to like 10,000. So it's like there's such a big range, and I think it's important to like keep in mind that you're just creating content for this brand. It's not necessarily like, oh, like they want to have bragging rights. It's like they really truly just want your content so that they can put it on their platform, share it with their audience, and you're just helping them out. It's like really, really such a collaborative effort. So yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Awesome question.